Hey guys, just thought I'd do another video. What just happened? We just saw a stone knockout, basically. People that we thought were going to go through didn't go through. People I were backing not to go through went through. So a little bit of an upset, but in a good way for some people and a bad way for others. I just want to run through the names and the lists. I mean, I have put it up online, but lots of people are looking in lots of different spots. So event 5. The stone originally, like we said, was going to be £400 or 180 kilos. They changed it up at the end and made it 200 kilos, £440. So that really did push the guys to the limit. Some guys were unable to lift the stone. But to be honest, at World's Strongest Man level, you should be able to lift 200 kilos. That's kind of roughly where that weight sits in terms of a max stone for reps. So, Group 1, we saw Rob Kearney go against Luke Stoltman. Luke winning with 8 reps. Rob got a very good 7 reps. So, good numbers in terms of reps. But unfortunately, energy is going to be running out now at the end of day 2 or day 3 now we are at, aren't we? So, so Luke, congratulations. Scotland, England, Britain, straight through to the finals. Really happy about that. Very sad about Rob not making it. He definitely deserves a place in the final based on his other event wins or event placings. But this is the sad thing about this event. It really does knock out some great competitors who, back in the old days, the top 2 would have gone through, and I think that's how it should be. I think that should come back. If they want to have a stone over yoke as an event, say event 2 or 3 of a qualifier, fine. But it just seems so criminal to see some of the good guys going out for reasons out of their control to a degree. Group 2, Adam Bishop versus Rob Oberst. Bish managed to go through with 2 reps, and I believe Rob Oberst hurt himself. His bicep was hurt after doing 1 rep, so Roberts had to bow out, and Bish has gone straight through. So that's another British person through. Really happy for Adam, so that's great. Group 3, Tom Stoltman versus Ivar Smokstelis. Ivers really went for it. I mean, he got 8 reps and Tom just beat him with 9, but Tom's best event is probably heavy stone, and he looked like he could go all day from the videos we've seen. So really sad that Ivars couldn't make it through, but this is the aim of this event here, is to knock out 3rd or 2nd depending on who goes. And my understanding is that if you came 2nd in points, then you get to go 2nd in the stone. So the first, if you're in 3rd, then you get to go 1st, which means you have to do essentially 1 extra rep. And this is what falls into place in Group 4, because it was JF Curran versus Kevin Fairs, and Kevin Fairs, I believe, was unable to lift the stone, so he was eliminated due to that reason, which is criminal because his points he had up into that position were decent. So he was knocked out. And then they brought in Ollie Martin Christensen, and he did really well. I think he got 4 reps and JF got 4 reps. But because Ollie Martin wasn't able to return the stone to JF, he was knocked out. I shouldn't be, but I'm happy with that decision because JF should have gone through based on being much higher placings in the qualifiers. This is why this event's a little bit of a bugbear. I don't think it works. The guys that run the show know what they're doing, but I just think as a fan, I think top 2 go through. If you want to mix up the event, find some other way of doing it, guys, because it's really unfair. And that leads us to Group 5, the big shock of the qualifier. Alexei Novikov, my big, the dark horse of the show, the guy that's been really consistent, won events, placed 2nd in events, finished event 4 with 17 points, doesn't go to the final. And for good reason. Trey Mitchell, the 3rd, came out of nowhere with 14 reps. They spent over 5 minutes loading this stone backwards and forwards. Still waiting for the video of that. That would be great to watch. But yeah, Trey beat Alexei by 1 rep. I believe he got 13 and Trey got 14 reps. So Trey Mitchell, the 3rd, has earned his place to the finals. It just seems to be on, not the best circumstances. It would have been nicer if they could have found another way of doing this. And that's what's happened. So big upsets in the stones. What do you guys think? Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is right? Do people care what we think? Probably not. Maybe it's for TV. But yeah, not great way to make the final for some guys, but for others, it's a real lifeline. Don't worry about coming 1st in the group. If you're a good stone lifter, come top 2 or 3. and that's your your ticket through. But I guess I can't moan too much because we use that advantage for some of our guys. So all good. Everyone's through to the finals. So we've got our top 10 finalists. So who have we got in the final? Let me get my list back up again. So top 10 athletes for the final. We've got Brian Shaw. We've got Mateusz Kieliskowski. We've got Hathor Bjornsson. I've got to start saying that right now. I've been saying it wrong for like 4 years. Konstantin Janasha, Adam Bishop, Luke Stoltman, Tom Stoltman, Trey Mitchell III, JF Curran, and Martins Lises. So this is the first time we've ever had brothers in the final. Tell me another time when there's been two brothers in World's Strongest Man who've made the finals. Some people asking when was the last time we had three people from Great Britain in the final, and I did a bit of digging, and I believe back in 2014 we had Terry Hollands, Eddie Hall and Lawrence Charlet. So it's been a while, 5 years, but it's good to see that we've still got that level of British strength athlete making it through to the finals, because essentially once Eddie disappeared off and Terry's kind of changing his direction, and Lawrence obviously claimed it was his last year. I mean, hopefully he'll be back, but he says this is his final shot. These guys are the guys we need to back these guys, support these guys. They are the future of British strongman. Unless someone else comes out of the woodwork to that level, there's lots of great athletes in every country, but World's Strongest Man, we're talking that next level. We're talking 200 kilo stones for 14 reps, 600 kilo yokes. The weights are just crazy weights, and this is what's happening, and this is why we've had a few injuries this year. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. And next up we've got something called the King of Kegs, or the King of the Keg Toss. I'm not sure who's invented this, what the point is. I believe it's to distinguish who comes fourth and fifth. But some groups fifth place were out due to injury, so I guess those competitors don't need to go. I don't know. The other option is, do they let everyone do the King of Keg Toss, and does this give someone potentially like Alexi and Rob Kearney and the guys that didn't make it through a lifeline? It's all getting a bit confusing, and for a day where they had only really to do one event, in my mind, they could have spent the time setting up for the finals, because there seems to be a lot of concern about at the World's Strongest Man camp that how are they going to do 5 events in one day? They're going to have multiple events going at the same time, 2 sets of camera crews, 2 sets of refs. If not, then they're going to have to start very, very early, which is not ideal. The guys need to sleep, and finish very, very late, which again, not ideal. Most of the athletes, I believe, have got flights booked for Monday, so they have to finish the show before they go home, or they're going to have to change their flights. I guess the latter. They're going to have to go with the flights being moved, and someone will have to pay for that. Unless I'm wrong, unless it's all under control, I'm worrying as usual for nothing. 5 events. We've had 1 event, and the stone, quite a simple event, 2 at a time. Not every athlete. It's taken nearly 3 hours. Supposed to start at 3, started at 4. What is the time now? Not even sure what the time is. It's now 6:30. So yeah, massively overrun in my opinion on the stone. I don't know. I suggested to Colin Bryce, I don't know if he listens, but I've messaged to him and said, why don't you just have 12 finalists, let Rob and Alexi in based on their points position. So I'm not choosing them over anyone else. Rob finished his pack on 15 points and Alexi with 17 points. Many of the other competitors were sort of around the 7, 8 or 12 point mark. So in my opinion, they have earned the right to go as either a reserve or as a 11th and 12th man. I think they could do it. I think they could make that work. Bin off this keg toss idea and just go with 12. That would also be nice, because where there's only 25 athletes this year, it gives more people an opportunity to make the final when there's less people given the opportunity to compete. So I think it's a nice trade-off. But I don't know who's in charge. I hear there's a bit of a conflict between the guys running IMG, the guys running the TV crew, the guys running maybe Rogue, I don't know, or even Giants. Everyone's got their own agenda. They all want to do the right thing, but then it's got to look good for TV. You've got the CBS version being filmed and the British version. I've also had that confirmed that I think it's 30th of July for 30th of June for CBS Sports, and guess what, British guys get to wait till December. Yay. It's going to be on Channel 5 in December as usual, as we always wait all year, just to see it. I mean, we know the results, but we want to watch the show a bit earlier on in the year. So that's my quick video. I just thought I'd do one because it's such an upset. It's crazy. And if anyone's interested, maybe not, but there's my little wall. As you can see behind me, you've got signed pictures from Big Z when he was only a 2-time World's Strongest Man champion. You've got Brian Shaw. I think I covered Eddie Hall up. That's a bit mean. There's Eddie at the top there. We've got Hulk Hogan, Mariusz Pudzianowski. Who else have we got up there that people will know? And there's a couple of bodybuilders. I think initially I was watching, going to the Arnold Classic. You get to meet all these athletes. It's just a good opportunity to say hi, get something signed, and create a bit of a wall of fame, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, nice to speak to everyone. Comment below, message any questions. I'm happy to answer them as best I can. I've got limited knowledge, but I do have quite a few guys out there, including the athletes, and everyone's staying in touch, which is really great for us. So yeah, interesting Saturday. Will this King of Kegs happen? We'll find out shortly, I guess. So stay tuned for that. Speak to you guys in a bit.